on the image on screen. Let us will ourselves into hearing everything that we should. No more, no less. By unlocking our minds and giving our purest, deepest feelings of benevolence permission to silence all arguments and excuses. I am a faithful trustee. I am a dependable trustee. I am a deserving trustee. I take only what I need. And give what I should back to the world for the benefit of my world family. I pledge good intentions, committed care, peace, love. Om Shanti. Thank you. We are lucky to have two resource persons tonight, two incredible women who many others look up to for their unwavering devotion to the purpose that they have chosen for this life. At the end of both sharings, we will be led on another guided meditation, after which both our guests have graciously agreed to take questions. To participate in that part of the program, please locate your Facebook or Zoom chat boxes this early. Thank you. Let us meet our first guest. Zero Waste Philippines is Sonia Mendoza's battle cry. She is a founding member and the tireless current chair of Mother Earth Foundation. Sonia completed training on zero waste management at the Berkeley Ecology Center in Berkeley, California in 2002 under the Global Alliance for Incinerator Alternatives program. At work for 23 years now, Mother Earth Foundation is actively addressing the persistent problems of waste and toxic pollution. Inevitably, this indefatigable NGO has applied itself as well to the issues of climate change, health, and environmental justice. This rousing term, environmental justice, refers to meaningful involvement of all people across the world, regardless of race, color, origin, and income, in the formulation and implementation of environmental laws, regulations, and policies. Last October 4, Pope Francis led religious leaders in issuing a plea to protect the environment. He warned, and I quote, "The earth, our home, is beginning to look more and more like an immense pile of filth," unquote. He called for, and again I quote, "bold solutions rooted in our deepest convictions about love, justice, and peace," unquote. The Pope added, "Future generations will never forgive us if we miss the opportunity to protect our common home." Sonia breaks this down. She says, "We need to conserve our finite resources for the future generations. Let us leave behind a living planet for them." Friends, please welcome Mother Earth Foundation's unsinkable Miss Sonia Mendoza. Welcome, Sonia.
Thank you, Emmy. Good evening, everyone. I'm Sonia Mendoza of Mother Earth Foundation. I would like to give you my presentation tonight. I'm honored to be part of this Brahma Kumaris event for tonight. So I've titled it Mother Earth, Our Home. Next, please. So it says, your mother would like to have a word with you. Next, please. And from American Indian Chief Seattle, we do not inherit the earth from our ancestors. We borrow it from our children. Next, please. So I'm showing you how beautiful our earth is, Mother Earth. Next, please. The waterfalls. Next slide, please. The glaciers. Next, please. And the caves with the thousands of fireflies. Next, please. The mountains and the seas and the hills. Next, please. And the plains and the valleys. Next, please. And an underground river. Next, please. From Mahatma Gandhi, there is sufficiency for man's need, but not for man's greed. Next, please. Well, Mother Earth Foundation is a non-stock, non-profit NGO actively engaged in addressing waste and toxic pollution, climate change, and other health and environmental issues. It's best known for its community-based advocacy of zero waste. Next, please. Our Mother Earth has a fever that keeps rising, and her convulsions are causing climate disasters around the world. Next, please. Climate change is the greatest threat mankind has ever faced because it threatens the habitability of the planet. There is no plan B. Next, please. The poorest countries and the poorest people are the first and worst victims of the impacts of environmental degradation and disasters induced by climate change. Careless human activity is the cause. Responsible human activity is the remedy. Next, please. Is it beyond repair? Next, please. We need trees, wanted trees, 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 and trees. Plenty of trees. Next, please. Wanted also heroes for the planet. Next, please. What can we do? There are solutions from within us that we can do even if they are very little things. Next, please. So 10 little things you can do. Next, please. So next, please, when brushing your teeth, don't let the water flow endlessly. So next, please, use a glass. Next, please, 2 slides, yeah. Use a glass when brushing your teeth. Next, please. And then here, when we go shopping, next, please. Maybe we can go a little faster. Say no to plastics when shopping. Also say no to paper bags and plastic bags. Say yes to your reusable bags. And then here are the straws. Next, please. The unnecessary straws. Don't use straws even when you are drinking from a coconut. Next, please. You can pour it in a glass. Then too much lights are on. Next, please. Next. Turn off the lights. Yes, next, please. They are all going to a fitness center, but look, they're not using the stairs. They're using the escalator. Next, please. And too much cell phones. Many not being recycled. Next, please. Well, it says unplug cell phone chargers. They say if it's plugged and there is no cell phone being charged, you are using electricity. Next, please. So this is at my home. I use an adapter with individual on switches to charge my devices. The first one is my laptop. The charger is on now. The second is for my cell phone. It's off. The third is for my foot massager, which is also off. I have another adapter for my TV, DVD player, which is turned on only when in use, and internet booster. All are turned off at night. No standby lights on because they still use electricity. Next, please. Then paper, too much paper being used. Next, please. Before you're through, use side 2. Use both sides of the paper. I think you know that now. Next, please. Turn off shower and soaping. Next. Next. Never burn anything, even grass or leaves, because they emit carbon dioxide, which is a greenhouse gas. So we have to tell our friends about these 10 little things we can do. Next, please. Well, Zero Waste for Mother Earth Foundation and other environmental NGOs working on solid waste. Zero waste solutions are the fastest and most economical in solving solid waste problems. Our model communities show that implementing zero waste programs results in huge reduction of waste management costs, cleaner and greener surroundings, better public health, and better livelihood for waste workers. Next, please. Zero waste transform communities. This is a scenario in one of a major thoroughfare in Metro Manila. This is the view that you can see when before the trucks come in, and now after the program, this is it. They have an eco garden and they have an eco park just behind the sidewalk because there's no space in the densely populated barangay. This is in Taguig City. Next, please. Well, zero waste programs, it should cover 100% of households for information, education, communication campaign. And because you are teaching them to segregate at source, the waste should be segregated at source where it is generated. So there should be a system of collection. It's a door-to-door segregated collection. Next, please. The collectors are the teachers. They teach the household how to properly segregate their waste. Next, please. The program also trained residents on livelihood programs using materials from waste. It also reduced the number of city trucks collecting waste from the barangay. Next, please. Well, the city of San Fernando in Pampanga is a zero waste city since 2012. There are 35 barangays, and our law here in the Philippines mandates that each barangay should have a materials recovery facility, but San Fernando has 103 materials recovery facilities because every village and every school have established, they have their own materials recovery facilities. And they have a plastic bag ban in 2017. It has 96.5% compliance. The waste diversion rate in 2012 when the program started was 12%. After 6 months, it's 53%. And last year, it was 80.2%, the highest in the country. A waste diversion rate means the waste that is diverted from being dumped in a landfill. It means it is being addressed within the city. So here is about less than 20% that is being brought to the Clark Sanitary Landfill. The solid waste management expense in 2012 was 70 million pesos, or $1.4 million US dollars. In 2014, it went down to 15 million pesos because of the zero waste program. Next, please. So the city was recognized for working towards a zero waste world at the International Zero Waste Cities Conference 2019 in Penang, Malaysia. It was also featured in the Story of Plastic film. Next, please. That's the mayor of San Fernando. Now we have another city in Metro Manila that will be a zero waste city maybe next year. Is Malabon City. It has 21 barangays and the waste diversion rate is 63%. It's already very high. It will also move to 80% maybe the next year, coming year. Next, please. If you can go back a while, the last slide. This used to be a dump site, but now it's a garden. There are many plants and they are doing composting. Next, please. Thank you. Another city is Navoto City in Metro Manila. It has a waste diversion rate of 64%. These two cities were selected by Mother Earth to become zero waste model cities because they are adjacent to Manila Bay. There is a continuing mandamus from the Supreme Court to improve the quality of the water in Manila Bay. And one cause of the poor water quality is the waste being dumped into the bay. So with this zero waste program, there is no waste dumping in the bay because every waste is collected in the barangay. Thank you. Next, please. Another city, Batangas City, is a port city, so it's also near the ocean. So we are also doing a project there. It has 105 barangays. We are working on 30 barangays. Next, please. And we scaled up to a province model. The province of Sikkihor is an island province in central Philippines. It has 6 municipalities. They have a plastic ordinance covering the whole province. Next, please. The province won the 8th Greening the Islands Awards on waste category last month. Next, please. The Zero Waste Academy. It is an immersive course aimed at capacitating project implementers and key stakeholders on how to implement a zero waste program in their respective cities and communities. Designed by Mother Earth Foundation and Gaia, the course covers a mix of lectures, what is zero waste, waste management laws, incineration as a fall solution, hands-on exercises, composting techniques, waste assessment and brand audit, community profiling, and writing sessions, preparing a solid waste management plan, designing collection routes. Next, please. We have conducted 3 Zero Waste Academy. The first one was in 2017, held in Malabon City. There were 25 participants, 16 participants from Gaia partners in Indonesia, Malaysia, India, and the Philippines. The second one was in July 2018 in Dumaguete City, 25 participants. Those are from different local government units. And the third one was in December 2018 also. Participants were from Tanzania, Taiwan, India, Indonesia, Tunisia, USA, Vietnam, Ghana, South Africa, Albania, Morocco, and the Philippines. So they went back to their communities to teach them the Zero Waste program. Next, please. And I was part of a rally at Nestle Philippines headquarters because one brand audit and waste assessment characterization that was done by Mother Earth, the result was Nestle was one of the top polluters, top plastic polluters in the ocean in the Philippines. So because of their sachet, the products packaged in sachet. So I said, hey, Nestle, sachet away. Next, please. So because of this sachet problem, wherein we use 163 million sachets a day in the Philippines, so we have a zero waste store. Here we have condiments, the common condiments at the home in bulk, like cooking soy sauce, vinegar, fish sauce, and cooking oil. Also, we have rice in bulk, and you can just buy what you want, bringing your own containers, so there's no plastic packaging. We also here, we have water bottles, because plastic bottled water is one of the worst polluter in the ocean. We have bamboo cutleries, wooden cutleries, and here also you can see, you just go there with your container and you can buy what you want and how much you want. And it's cheaper than buying the products in sachet, because the sachets, the packaging is more expensive sometimes than the contents. Next, please. Well, here, this is my home. I have bougainvilleas around it. And this, I planted this more than 25 years ago. It's almost all year round. After flowering, we trim it to the bone, and then so it does not grow very thick. And it's always like this. It's very nice. The bougainvillea is, you don't care for it very much. It doesn't need much water. It just needs sunlight. You have flowers with you almost all year round. Next, please. And this is my golden shower tree. It fell down twice already because of very strong typhoon. So I had to put it back because I couldn't let go because of the beautiful flowers. They look like golden chandeliers. And so I put it back, but maybe I did not do a very good work of it. So another typhoon came, it fell down again. Nobody could pass on this road. So we had to cut the top and put it back again. But this time I made sure that it was stronger. We dug around it and I put 5 big sacks of compost. And look, was already during the pandemic. And the flowers were really, really beautiful. It only flowers once a year, like it should be April, but because of climate change, now sometimes it flowers early. So next, please. We do home composting. As an offshoot, we have an organic vegetable garden, from garden to table. Eggplant, okra, squash, kamote tops, ampalaya, patola, alugbati, arugula, petsay, mustasa, kangkong, bok choy, spinach, and turmeric. We have basil, tarragon, rosemary, oregano, lemongrass, and citronella. And in my free time, I play the piano every day in my free time from webinars and Zoom meetings. Self-studying simple piano pieces such as Fior Elise, Chopin's Nocturne No. 9, Moonlight Sonata, only the first movement. I love to watch concerts and now only on YouTube. And I also watch Netflix. Next, please. Well, the Cree Indian prophecy. Only after the last tree has been cut, only after the last fish has been caught, only after the last river has been poisoned, only then we will realize that money cannot be eaten. Next, please. So let's leave our children a living planet. Thank you very much. Thank you, Emmy.
Oh, we are supposed to see a video, to watch a video.
Are we looking for a happy life? Are we struggling to be a healthy person? Are we unable to avoid unhealthy atmospheres? Do we really care about ourselves? Wait and think. What are we giving to the outside world? Is it only waste products that is making the environment unhealthy? Are we really doing anything beyond? Or are we contributing to what we cannot see? Our thoughts, our pure and positive thoughts protect nature. Our feeling of brotherhood makes our nation stronger. Understanding and accepting others makes our relationships better. Let's just experience the real me within. On this World Environment Day, let us come together and take an oath to protect climate, nature, and environment by maintaining our inner being. Because when we create, we radiate.
Thank you, Sonia. Thank you, Sonia. Congratulations to Mother Earth Foundation challenging the giant food manufacturer that is Nestle. Thank you. And I'm so looking forward to your unveiling Sikkihor Island as a showcase for the Philippines. I know that Sikkihor Island is one of our last frontiers here. Because it's not as big a tourist destination as Boracay. And look at Boracay now, right?
Yes, it's very beautiful. Sikkihor is very beautiful.
Yes.
And we would like to make it the first zero-waste island province in the world.
Thank you
We
again.
hope. Thank
Yes,
you.
me too. I am right there with you in that hope. And now we meet our second resource person. Maureen Chen is a native of Sydney, Australia, where she joined the Brahma Kumaris in 1977. Today, she is living her best life after over 4 decades of searching, experiencing, and then sharing with others everything of consequence that she learns as a student and teacher of Raja Yoga meditation. In this pursuit, Maureen, also known as BK Morni, has been around the world as she narrates in her recently launched book, Mystic at the Edge, a Western Woman Colored by Asia. To date, she has conducted meditation retreats and given lectures in about 50 countries on subjects dealing with self-empowerment, self-esteem, self-realization. Whenever she found herself, Morni set aside time to help in pro-environment efforts. In 1981, she moved to Hong Kong to start a BK meditation center. There, she was deeply concerned about wasted resources in such an affluent society. She helped establish the charity called FoodLink, which hooked up welfare organizations with restaurants and hotels that were happy to part with their leftover food. Morni helped open and sustain meditation centers in Australia, Japan, Malaysia, Sri Lanka, and the Philippines. As representative of Brahma Kumaris in Cambodia from 2006 to 2010, she founded the charity Khmer Independent Life Team, which initiated social enterprises for victims of landmines. And Peace Cafe, a vegetarian community cafe that included a fair trade outlet. From there, she moved to India and organized over 50 programs across the subcontinent for the Future of Power project. After 30 years in Asia, Morni returned to Sydney to coordinate the Brahma Kumaris National Office. 3 years ago, she set up another BK center, this time in Taiwan, but COVID brought her back last year to Australia, where she finished and launched her book. She is currently the coordinator of Yarra Valley Living Center, a tranquil retreat place that teems with wildlife near Melbourne, within 40 acres of picturesque Australian bushland. Then as now, Morni has immersed herself in environment initiatives alongside nature advocates like herself, who are constantly pushing the envelope for sustainable living. Please welcome on her, Morni, 575th visit to the Philippines, our very own sister Morni. Well, that's how numerous it seems to me anyway. Welcome again.
It's very, very nice to be back with you. And I love Zoom, that we can just come there so easily now. So thank you for inviting me. And Philippines has always had a very soft spot in my heart because of its warmth of the people's heart. And I really thank Sonia for what she's doing, because, you know, sometimes we think, what can we do? You know, there's such a big problem, and, you know, we are mostly just individuals, but Sonia has shown a great example of one person really leading. Of course, there's many thousands of people behind her, but still we need that person to lead. So each one of us can do something. And I think this story of the hummingbird has been shared in countries all over the world about a fire that broke out in the forest, and all the animals were running in fear. A little bird, a small hummingbird, thought, what can I do? So it flew to the pond, filled its tiny beak, and sprayed that water on the fire and went back and forth. The other animals were making fun of it, saying, you know, what can you do? You're so small. But the beautiful ending of the story is that an angel, seeing the effort of the hummingbird, brought a shower of rain and put out the fire. So this is my little story for inspiration. I may be just one small person, but I can do something. As was mentioned, the very, very big charity now in Hong Kong, Food Link, I was at the hotel teaching meditation, and they used to have a vegetarian meal whenever I went there for all the managers. And at the end, I saw so much food. And I said, what's going to happen to all this food? They said, we have to throw it away. I think there was enough for another 30 people of very good food. So in my small capacity, I thought we can just buy some containers, link a charity with a hotel, one charity for one hotel. I started like that, so small, but a lady came on board who owns hotels, has many friends who owns hotels and restaurants, and she's taken this on. And now there's 7 vans going around Hong Kong every day, 24/7. So I feel like the little hummingbird. I just did a small little thing, but then someone came along to help with that task. So we can all do something, and we need to do something. Sometimes we still think the task is so big, people aren't listening, people aren't waking up, but I need to follow my conscience like that hummingbird. I need to do something, whatever is in my capacity. I can't run. I can't fly away thinking I can't do anything. And this is what's very important, not just to save our world, but to save our soul. Because if I do what I can do, my heart will be at peace. If I don't do anything, as they say, our conscience dictates our life, whether we like it or not. If I don't do anything, my conscience, at least for me, it doesn't leave me in peace. I need to do something. And all of us can do one thing. The biggest thing each and every one of us can do is to move to a plant-based diet, because methane, which comes from animals, is as big a polluter as CO2 and all the other things that are out there. So we need to do what we can to not just protect the ozone layer, but also to stop this methane. When we are eating a plant-based diet, there's less refrigeration, less transportation, less waste. So one thing that each and every one of us can do, I'm not sure if there's a reason we can't do it, because we do have a lot of choice. So I'd like to know, maybe in the question answers, you can share with me any reason why we can't become plant-based. I'll leave that to you. And what I feel is that if I follow my conscience, that's why I'm plant-based. I used to be vegetarian, but my conscience wouldn't allow me to stay at that level. I kept thinking of the way cows are treated, and I kept thinking about the many other aspects that being plant-based can help, including health. And I couldn't ignore my conscience. So what I said is that I will be vegan as much as possible. So even if you're becoming vegetarian, tell yourself, I can do this to whatever extent is possible. Even if I can do it a few days a week, it will help that much. So I don't need to even push myself beyond what my conscience is asking me to do. And when I do that, I have more peace of mind. I have more happiness because we live on blessings, not just blessings from human beings, but I would say blessings from Mother Earth, from this planet that's trying to sustain me. But I'm not helping Mother Earth in sustaining myself. So let me do whatever I can to make Mother Earth's job easier. So that means zero waste, as our beautiful sister Sonia was asking us, because Mother Earth is struggling. So let me help as much as possible. So when we follow our conscience, we have peace. You might have picked up, I'm quite a passionate person. I care about many people, many things. And I read a saying that said, wisdom is passion and tranquility. This saying really helped me. Wisdom is passion and tranquility. Because if I only have passion, I can get very frustrated. I can become angry about the many people who don't seem to care. And that seems to be the biggest illness of our times, the don't care illness. Because what happens when we don't care, it's as if the soul is dead, because I'm not awake, I'm not alive, I'm not conscious of what's going on in the world. So when I start to care, then sometimes I become emotional, frustrated, angry. So wisdom is passion and tranquility. So the philosophy of Raj Yoga, of the Brahma Kumaris, has helped me in my life to stay cool. So the idea is to keep the heart very calm and the head very cool, so that I don't get excited, but I can still see and act. So let me act with tranquility, meaning, I need to be a little bit philosophical. I need to have faith that there is a bigger plan. Maybe I'm not aware of God's plan for planet Earth. So let me align and trust that there is a plan, and let me do what I can within that, but not to look at others, not to get frustrated, angry, judgmental, because that doesn't help the planet. As we saw in the little video, our thoughts are very important. And the Brahma Kumaris, as a NGO with the United Nations, has been attending the COP meetings since its inception 26 years ago. At first, they used to wonder what we were doing there, a spiritual organization talking about meditating, peace, consciousness, the power of thought. Now, in this recent one, we had 13 programs. There's such an acknowledgement of what we need to do in terms of our consciousness, our thoughts. And one of our practitioners of Raj Yoga is based in Germany. She's employed by the German government to study how we can motivate ourselves and motivate others through thought to make the change, because what they're recognizing now, we know the problem, we know the solution, we know what we need to do. Why aren't we changing? So this is what we need to explore, because that's the missing piece. It's not that we can't fix things, we can, but we have to be willing to make the change at the level that it's needed. And the question is also, can we do this? Can we change without divine intervention? I know I couldn't. What made me happy when I started practicing meditation is seeing that I was really able to make the changes that I wanted to make. And I heard a very beautiful line in a commentary. It said that God doesn't see our weaknesses, but gives us the strength to overcome those weaknesses. And that's what I need to draw on. I used to think when I was younger, I don't need God. I can do this. I've got it. I can change myself. But when I started to connect with the higher power, I saw how I could shift things that previously I could not. And so it's really been such a support to my life, because I do want to change. And so having methods that will help me, really help me to bring that change in my life, so that I can feel good about myself and feel that I'm living the life I wish to live without regret. That's how I want to live, with no regrets. So I think for the most part, I'm quite happy with my life and my efforts and the transformation that I'm bringing about. Of course I can do more. Of course I'm not perfect, but I've also learned to accept myself and to be realistic about how much I can do and how fast I can do it. And so I'm moving along in a relationship with the Creator. And I want to join with the Creator in helping His creation. I'm also part of that creation. In Australia, we have a tradition that when we speak, when we begin a program, we acknowledge the owners of this land, the Aboriginal people that looked after this land for thousands of years. And it's a beautiful acknowledgement, because Indigenous people tend to still have a closer relationship with Mother Earth. We seem to think we're too clever and we can control and manipulate the weather and everything material. But we have to forget that, because as Sonia said, or it might have been Emmy, that there are finite materials in this world, and I need to work within the limits. So let me create that consciousness where I care and I'm willing to do whatever I can do, however small it is. Let me listen to my conscience so that I can sleep well at night. I can be peaceful, knowing that I am doing my best to help my Mother Earth, our mother. Mother Earth is for all of us. And what happens here in Australia affects the Philippines. What happens over there affects here. We are one family. There's only one planet. And so we need to care for each other. So thank you for letting me share. I've had a lot of wonderful opportunities in this life also to do things for the planet. At the cafe in Cambodia, we used to arrange training for permaculture. And we also organized a cycle, 350 cyclists for 350.org from the town to the Angkor Wat. But whatever we could do, we would do that and continue to do that. In the Yarra Valley Living Centre, we recycle, we compost, we are very conscious of our impact on the planet. So thank you very much for letting me share, and I look forward to any questions you have later.
Sister Morni, I'm very curious about the fair trade outlet component of the cafe.
Yeah.
Could you?
Yeah, in Cambodia, in fact, there's quite a few Christian organizations, others as well, but I came to know two very good organizations that really make sure that whatever is created by the artists, and in particular, I'm thinking of the silver smiths, the people working and creating silverware, very beautiful jewelry, and also pottery. And also there was another one, beautiful krama, which are the scarves. And most of the income after selling went to these people rather than the middle man in between. So we really wanted to support all the local NGOs. And so the idea of setting up the cafe was so we could support all the NGOs and not just one or two. And so whether it was the Khmer Independent Life team creating jewelry, whether it was the silversmiths, the weavers, they could all bring their wear and be able to sell to tourists, basically. But also we had performances. We just did whatever we could to support all the NGOs that were struggling to help their communities.
And the food link is still going on. Is
Oh,
still
very
alive?
much, very much. In fact, last year it was named I think the most impactful NGO in Hong Kong.
Wow.
I'm no longer active in the sense that I'm not living in Hong Kong, but my friends, the Huangs, they've really done an amazing job with their friends and family. The whole family gets involved, the children, the parents, the friends, the cousins. So it's really been a great family initiative that's working very well.
Nice. Okay. Sister Morni, before we proceed to the question and answer portion, could we have some meditation?
Beautiful.
Thank you.
So let's dedicate this meditation to Mother Earth, our beautiful planet. We saw those beautiful images. Life is meant to be enjoyed. It is created for that. But let me think of how I can enjoy this world in a way that's taking the least, making the least impact on the environment. In fact, what do I need to enjoy life? Just to wake up with the morning sun and be grateful for being alive. Be grateful for another day. Say good morning to the divine. and let the presence of the divine guide my day from the moment I awaken till the time I lay my head to sleep. There is only one prayer. Thank you. So let me be grateful from that early morning time, and let me spread love and peace around me throughout the whole day. Because people now are really struggling. Everyone needs gentleness. Let me walk upon this earth with gentleness. Let my thoughts towards others and towards myself be gentle. Let's together now spread thoughts of gentleness. And feel the love of the divine as so soft and gentle. That brings ease and lightness. They're like the arms of a mother. That embrace and hold all of creation. Be aware of the air that I'm breathing, the water that makes up so much of my body. The fire that keeps my temperature healthy. See, even my body is not separate to nature. I'm made of the elements. So let me be in awe and wonder at this amazing creation. And feel the heart expand in that awe and wonder. I need to keep this high vibration as we pass through these very difficult times. But I am spirit, I am light. and I can support matter, nature. I can be an instrument of the divine. I am an instrument of the divine. Om. I am Shanti. Peace. So as we come out of the meditation, just take a few deep breaths, filled with that feeling of gratitude. And empowering myself to do something, whatever I can do, to take a stand and act with loving care. Om Shanti. Thank you for your good wishes. That we
Om
all
Shanti.
share with the world.
Thank you, Sister Morni and Om Shanti. I also want to thank you for earlier mentioning this Australian tradition of thanking the previous keepers of the earth as offering in any event, or because I think it's an old Asian tradition that somehow got lost, and I really feel it should be revived because it makes us more grateful and appreciative of what we have now.
Yeah. In fact, we're on this land in the retreat center, and I've been trying to bring the traditional owners, the Aboriginal people, onto the land to welcome us, because I feel I'm on their land, and we need to be welcomed there. But because of the COVID, the lockdown, all of these things, it hasn't happened yet, but we're looking forward to that we want to be welcomed on their land. And they need to guide us to help take care of it as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Thanks again. And okay, we gathered a few questions. I hope we have time for all of these questions because I personally would like to hear the answers from both you and Sonia. Okay, the questions are divided into those about the world around us and those the world within us. We can maybe start with the world around us. First question is, because scientists and activists, they are not of the same mind about this particular question. Is there time to reverse the damage? Or are we working only to slow down the inevitable? If there is no more time, what is the point of reforming our ways?
Well, I'm happy to be the hummingbird. Sonia, what do you think?
Hummingbird. Can't hear.
Is she stuck? Can we unmute her? I think maybe she's trying. we have to unmute Sonia.
Sonia, unmute.
Sonia, you're muted.
No, maybe from the technical side.
Oh, okay.
Ask the technical people to unmute her.
Happy Ben, please see the security.
Okay.
Mute.
Ah,
Okay.
wonderful, Sonia.
Okay. Yeah.
Did we miss, then what did we miss?
Because it says here the host should unmute me, so I could not
Yeah.
unmute myself.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's really very hard to reverse it to where it was before, but there is still time that we can still improve it. Well, the earth is a very mighty organism. It will not go. It's the habitat, the inhabitants that will go. We, the people. Planet Earth will be here and it will just regenerate itself, bury itself in ice like the ice age before. But we can do our own little things to make it better. Like with Mother Earth, we always say, return to Mother Earth, what Mother Earth has given you. Like you compost everything, return it to the soil, because our soil now is so degraded because of chemical fertilizers and pesticides. But if you return all the food waste to Mother Earth, then we can have a better agriculture, fertile soil. And like, don't use the single-use plastics because they're really, really a big problem. Plastic bags, the sachets, and everything that is single-use. That after use, single-use, then you throw it away. So we really have to be very conscious of it. Like Mother Earth, we don't buy bottled water. We bring our own water bottle. Because it's really, even if it says it's recyclable, well, the data is, since plastic was made, only 9% of the total plastic produced was recycled. 9%, and we have millions of tons of plastic being manufactured. So it's really there in the ocean, at the bed of the ocean, in the landscape, like straws. Who needs straws?
So Sonia, is it too late? Is it too late? Because there's already so much in the ocean.
And it's not too late, but we have to start. We really have to start. Because if not, if it's business as usual, then maybe it will be too late. That's why we are changing the narrative, because people are always saying that we are at fault because we don't manage our waste. But we're turning it against, we're saying, who are the real culprits? Those companies, the multinationals in the global north, they are the ones producing these plastic products, which are not recyclable. So they just go to the oceans, to the land, everywhere. And then it really creates, because this packaging, they have no value. So you cannot sell them to the junk shops to be remanufactured. It will just lie there, and it will take hundreds of years, maybe thousands of years for them to degrade, to biodegrade. So we are saying the consumers are not really the ones at fault, because the plastic industry always blames the consumers that we don't know how to manage our waste. But we are changing the narrative. Who are making these products? Maybe they should stop making these products, do some research to change the packaging. That's a very major step that we have to take to save our Mother Earth.
So
Right.
according to your study, Sonia, if they did stop all of them packaging the way they do right now, how long would it take?
Well, that will be a very good start, but it will really take long because we have to address what has been there already, making that, because the ones in the sea, they are emitting toxic substances, plastics. They are made of from oil, but they have many harmful chemicals during the manufacture, and it's all being emitted there in the ocean. So it's affecting marine life.
Do we have an idea? Well, Morning talks about the angel that came because of seeing the hummingbird doing what it's doing. Are you? You have an idea which angel is bound to come down to help Mother Earth Foundation?
The archangels, they're more powerful. It will really take miracle. But as I said, planet Earth will always be there. We will be the one who will have to go, because we cannot live in this world if it's so, I mean, there are so many toxic and harmful substances there. But planet Earth is a very strong organism. It can regenerate itself. So it's really us who should be really worried.
So is it included in your education campaign? Do you tell people that, the earth will always can always regenerate is the only word. We cannot say that of the human species. So do you tell people that?
Yes. And also, we always say that we have to be responsible, especially for the waste that we generate. In our teaching modules, we have 2 modules, the inner ecology and the solid waste management. So I told them, do not call it spiritual, they might be turned off. So I said, we call it inner ecology. You have to answer the question, why?
Yes.
Why do you have to be responsible for the waste that you generate? Why? Why do you have to conserve finite resources for the future generation? Then you have to break into the mindset, because they're so used already to just throw away everything.
Yes.
So if they have responsibility in their mind that I'm doing this for my children or my children's children, then they like what they are doing, what we are doing, like having zero waste. Because with zero waste, unless the manufacturers really have the extended producer responsibility to be responsible for all that they manufacture up to the end of the life cycle of their product, we will not have zero waste. Because they just produce and produce, give them to the consumers, and then we are to blame. But if they do responsible manufacturing and be responsible for their products, then maybe if it's zero waste, maybe Mother Earth and its inhabitants can survive. The inhabitants can survive longer.
Okay.
In Hong Kong, Friends of the Earth used to have a slogan, which I found very impactful. There's no such place as away.
Yes.
Throw it away. Where's away?
Yeah.
There is no such place.
There is no away.
Realize
yes,
that.
Yes, we use that also in our training. There is no
Oh,
away.
I like that.
Sonia,
You cannot
yeah.
There's no plan B. You
There's
said
no
it
plan
more
B.
recently. No
There's
plan
no
B.
plan B.
Right.
You cannot yet go to Mars.
So we have a next question. It is about walking the talk. When we remain true to our inner values, follow our conscience despite resistance from others, our actions bring benefit to many. That is walking the talk. What is the conscience that we are talking about here? Because there are many types and levels of response based on one's conditioning. Do you encounter that, Sonia? Do you have different responses from different communities?
Yes, and we learn a lot from them. You know, the communities that we work with, like marginalized communities, well, rich barangays and everything, they have different cultures. And we teach and we learn. We are surprised at how innovative these people are. So we teach them, but we also learn from them. So we are always open to learning. Our modules come from different communities also. Yeah.
And if you want to add, Morni?
Yeah, I just think, the conscience is, we all know what is right. That's the thing. And we can only be at peace when we follow what is right. It's quite simple.
Okay.
Yes, like if you tell them not to use plastic bags, you'll have resistance. But I just have canvas bags in my bag, 3 of them, and I don't use plastic bags even in the wet market. I use containers for the fish, for the shrimps, for the seafood, and even in groceries, I don't take their plastic bags. I have my own bags. So even if you have resistance, then you just keep on. You see, they say walk the talk.
Yes, I think this is a question for Morni, because you mentioned there's no other way but to go plant-based, right?
Yeah.
Before men learned how to farm, they were hunter-gatherers. They just took what they will consume that day, and usually it was not meat. Would we have to go back to that far to reverse this current situation?
See, for example, Australia, people brought foreign animals here, like cattle and sheep and deer and all kinds. And that is the cause of the destruction of the planet, of Australia, definitely, because, then, we're using the land, we're cutting trees. Most of the forest is cut because of meat production. So we just are ruining our planet because of this unnecessary diet. Even the fish are being fished out of the ocean. Oceans are almost empty now.
Yeah.
So we can't, it's not sustainable, and it's not kind also. So really to change our diet, and plant-based food can be delicious. So we do have to invest a little bit of time to learn, but it's economical, it's healthy, and it's delicious. Our palate changes because we start to taste vegetables and the food, when we become more simple in our diet, the taste is very, like today I just had a sweet potato. You love sweet potato, I know, in Philippines. I enjoyed it so much with nothing on it, just plain. It's so fulfilling. I was remembering Philippines when I was eating that.
Okay, we can go current events now. Until COVID, it seemed that nothing could restrict us. Would you say that the pandemic has done some good for the planet, if not directly for human beings? Or both?
Well, it has been noticed that the air was cleaner, the skies were clearer, and because we were locked down, no vehicles were going out, so there's no emissions. So it was, they really said before that it was saving the planet. But now there is also this plastic waste that is being generated from COVID, from the pandemic. It's also another problem now. The masks that are not recyclable,
Suits.
PPE, the suits that use because they are especially one use because they're afraid. But no, I use reusable masks. I use reusable masks. And my face shield, I have one face shield since the pandemic, only one. I clean it with soap
Oh,
and
good on
water.
you. That's very good. Very, very good.
But I just clean it with soap and water. I soak it for 30 minutes and then I let it dry under the sun. And I think the virus will be dead by then. We're
Mm,
lucky that this virus is so easy to kill.
yeah.
Like just 10 minutes, I mean, 20 seconds washing your hands with soap and water is enough.
Mm.
Yeah.
I think spiritually, people who pray, meditate, tend to have to enjoy silence time and solitude. And I think for most of the people I know, because that seems to be my circle more, they've really taken a lot of benefit from having that quiet time. And we get up early in the morning. They couldn't do that before because they're working, and now they're working from home. They can keep a better balance. You know, in many ways, it has benefited people who are more either introvert or appreciate solitude. So there has been a lot of benefit in some ways. But on the other side, there's been, you know, more domestic violence, because with children not going to schools, they haven't been able to identify the violence towards children and even towards, you know, between partners. So that they, in Australia, they call it the shadow pandemic. Domestic violence has been the shadow pandemic. So hopefully there will be, you know, not these lock up, because the, you know, the economical impact, the social impact, it's been pretty harsh for most people. But I think as a meditator, very, very good.
This question, I think Morni covered this, but maybe Sonia wants to add something. Is it possible to achieve the greatest version of myself without divine intervention?
I always pray. So there's always divine intervention. I pray for everything that I want to do. So it's not really divine intervention, it's just my faith.
But Sonia, you wouldn't have the level of energy without that connection, would you? Can you imagine doing all of this work for so many decades without help? Is it possible? I don't think for myself it's possible.
Yes, I think it's not possible. It's because I always go up to him.
Yeah.
Anything that I do. Yes, I always pray. That's part of my daily life. Well, it's not the prepared prayers. It's just my prayer on my own.
Yeah.
I communicate.
Lovely.
And I'm very lucky to have that energy, yes. Up to now.
I have, Vicky Ben, can someone tell me how much time we have? Because, these are so nice. These are good questions. But I'll go ahead with this next one. How would you describe the ideal simple life? Because it's not necessarily ideal just because it's simple. Is it? And what is your indicator that the current life you lead is the best one for you? Personal. It's very personal.
I think for me, I can answer very quickly. How do I know this is the best life for me? I'm happy. I think that's the best indicator. I'm really happy with my life.
That's very true. For me, I also gauge myself as if I can sleep very well at night, then I'm doing the right thing. And I have no problem with that. I'm super senior already, but I sleep very well at night.
What is super senior? It doesn't seem to apply to you.
I'm 77.
Wow.
cannot-
and still
I could
working
not-
so hard.
No.
I could not go out during this pandemic because 65 and above, you cannot go out. So, but last week, I was able to go to the parlor because the transmission rate now is very, very low for Metro Manila.
Yes.
I think we have it under control and we have to follow the health protocols because I think we are now very low in transmission, even the Philippines. So we're lucky that people are also following.
Okay, one last question. Vicky Ben, one last question. What inspired you to adopt these practices that you now advocate?
Pardon, what is?
What inspired you to adopt the practices that you are now advocating full-time?
I would say for me, I was really concerned about the planet when I was only 18, 19 years old. And when I came across meditation, because I used to have, help children, in other countries and, try and protect the whales, save the trees, anti-uranium, all of those things. But I thought everything starts in the mind. So I dedicate my life to helping people to be more conscious and to, really think before they act. So that's why I dedicated myself to this particular path I've chosen.
For me, I was really surprised at the consumerism, too much consumerism. And I said, we will be out of our resources in no time if people will act like this. So that's why in our inner ecology, we always say we have finite resources. That's why we should not burn them in incinerators. We have to conserve them. And one way of conserving them is the zero waste. Waste not.
Yes. I'm really looking forward to Sikkihor, Sonia. Yes.
I hope the airport will be done by then because it's so hard to use the ferry. The sea is sometimes very rough, but I've been there 3 times. So the airport, I think they just need to widen the tarmac. Hopefully, because we will always be going there, especially when we had the face-to-face training again to help the people there. Sikkihor is a beautiful island.
Yes, Sister Morni, you should see Sikkihor.
Oh, okay. Next visit.
Okay, so now many thanks all around. We would like to ask Sister Morni again for a very brief commentary for our ending meditation.
Just a minute, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so let's just thank everyone who made the effort to put this together. Each one has done this because they care for the planet. So let's close this session with gratitude, and also gratitude for the one above that gives us the energy to do what is right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sister Morni. May we call on Sister Becky, the chair of the Environment Committee, for
some flowers for
Yes,
Morni.
right.
Okay.
Flowers.
I think you remember Sampaguita, right? The white flowers.
Sampaguita, yes. Very
Sampaguita.
fragrant.
Yeah, very fragrant. In all of us, in our own way, we spread the fragrance of our virtues and what we teach others. I think everyone who's interested to be co-creator of the earth are actually like flowers.
Thank
We're
you so
spreading
much. Very
fragrance. So,
beautiful.
and we're small but very purposive, you know. And for our friend, flowers also, but different colors. Okay,
Wow.
so
Wow.
okay.
Happy
Sunflower.
flower.
Yeah,
Happy
it's our
flower.
sunflower who actually always follow
And-
the sun because the sun is a
Yes.
symbol of God. And we are all in doing something for the environment. We're really following intuitively what God wanted us to do or matter, because we are the higher nature, we're the higher spirit. And I think flowers are also symbols of the different virtues that we share with people as we work with them. And I think with the number of people Sonia has been working, you must be sharing a lot of different qualities that you have, you know, because not everyone will be convinced by your gentleness. You will be gentle and a little bit strict. So a balance between being hard and soft. And therefore, I'd like to give this to you as a symbol of your work, as you use
Wow.
your different qualities, as the different flower symbolizes different strength. And I'm sure with meeting a lot of people, you have to use a lot of different ways to convince them that we'll have to do something which nature is like God, taking care of our physical need. And in return, God does not need any return, but nature needs something from us. And it's our virtues, symbolizes by different flowers. And they have been using it to convince others. So thank you very much, Sonia. Until the next time. Okay.
Thank you very
and
much for the
we'll send
beautiful
this to
flowers.
you. You'll get it soon. We will send it to you.
Lovely.
So you'll remember us. Morni, you'll have
Beautiful.
to come and get this.
I'll come again. Yeah. Okay.
You have
Thank
to
you
come
very
again.
much,
Oh,
Mr.
Morning, you have
Morni.
been here. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for gracing this occasion. Our committee is the Environment Committee. And even though people are not slowly getting interested that, we affect what we do. Now, our behavior, our thoughts, and our words affect our surrounding. A very difficult, sometimes truth to share. But I think we're being effective in many different ways. So we have to continue, as drops of water makes an ocean. Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much
Becky, and over
for
to
those.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Okay.
Sister Morni.
You get
Very
it.
Yeah, lovely to
very
be
inspiring.
you are too. Wonderful.